aren't able to be here. So so yeah, I'm excited to be here on a Monday night. Thank y'all for coming to listen, those of you who are here, and then of course to Brett from City Year Memphis for being here. You know, Brett and I recently met, and we were talking about how oftentimes students can, you know, when they're getting closer to graduation, or even when they're just kind of thinking about that first year out of high school, sometimes it can be really overwhelming. And there's you know, like there's a really still a lot of growth that can potentially happen, you know, following high school, of course, like as lifelong learners. And I am so excited that you all get to hear from Brett tonight, because he's going to talk about a really special opportunity here in Memphis that is open to crosstown students, and of course students otherwise. Like if you have, you know, other teenagers who, or other young people in maybe in your extended family who would be interested in this program, you know, please, you know, think of them and keep them in mind. This is not just exclusively for crosstown students. But yeah, that first year out of high school can often feel overwhelming. I know that that there are some students who, you know, maybe want to go to college, but you know, to like a four-year or institution, but like maybe they don't feel like they're ready just yet. And so oftentimes like students will take that gap year. And I'm really, yeah, I'm excited to hear from you, Brett, about what City Year offers as far as the gap year program goes. So I'll kind of turn this over to you, if that's okay, and let you talk with all of our parents who are here tonight, and then of course those who are watching this recording later on. So yeah, take it away, Brett.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. I love when we've made a friend, and you know, we call them champions when we like get to know and get to share like our opportunity. And it's so much better than someone who doesn't know who you are at all to like introduce you. Because that was an incredible introduction. I'm really excited. Thank you guys to the parents that are able to be here, and hopefully I'll get to like talk to you later, anyone watching the recording. Like Leah said, I love to be able to get into spaces like this, because my job now is really sharing an experience that I was already a part of. I'm an alum of our program, and so I've been able to see really firsthand what our opportunity can do for high school grads, and just 17 to 25-year-olds we have in our program, like in general, that are in need of this kind of opportunity. So like Leah said, we offer spaces for learning and growth and development. That a part of my job is working with people who know and who are collecting data and who are learning, just are in need of more options for what to do as they go to graduate high school. So like I love to share, and I love to talk about, it's why I'm excited for getting into space with parents, what your experience is, or people you know about, like, you know, you have a junior, senior gets to high school, and how often do we have people who are like maybe a little stressed or overwhelmed with the fact that like, are my career and college preparations like good to go? Am I ready to jump right into a 4-year and all of the like investment and cost benefit involved with that? Really, like, I started collecting data when I started this work in like 2020, 2021. I work with some groups like TD Ameritrade and College Lab, and some people that collect data that are like at least 35% of like current high school students are considering a gap year post grad. And I don't know like how much you were following, but one of Barack and Michelle Obama's daughters was really public about like that decision for her. And it's kind of been a part of a lot of conversation in Gen Z about options either in the middle of undergrad or alternative options to like supplement just going college straight into a major and undergrad straight into a career. So I work for City Year Memphis. I'm the community engagement coordinator right now. And like Leah said, City Year is right here in Memphis, and we offer a service year opportunity. And so like I'd really love to know like questions and conversations that can come up for parents. It's my favorite way to like have hold spaces, but I will try to give like a little bit of a overview of what that means, like that we offer a service here. So all you have to do to qualify to be in our program is to be at least like 17 and graduated high school. And so if you meet those qualifications, you can apply to our program. And what a service year is with us is we believe in the development of our 17 to 25-year-olds while they're actively a part of our impact with students in Memphis. And so we have teams of what we call student success coaches. And while they come serve with us, they become a student success coach, and they're working with us in several different under-resourced, underprivileged, what we call them, charter schools or public schools in Memphis. And so they get to take part in mentoring students. And while they're doing that, they're a part of an incredible leadership and development program with us, where we help them and guide them and train them through making a marked difference that is great on their like resume and to have under their belt moving forward. But they also get to just be under our staff that mentors and develops them. And we have a lot, like, I'm not going to dive into everything because there's a lot. But we have tons of opportunities where like right now I'm working with our core is what we call them of 17 to 25-year-olds. And like just this week, I'm trying to think about it, like I solidified plans for our career fair that's taking place for all of our current participants in March there across town. I held a session on LinkedIn training and how that can be a part of like adding your resume and career development. I checked in with 2 of our graduates that from our program and our partnerships with universities are now full-time at Washington University in St. Louis and Boston University. One of them got a full ride. So I love that story for her from like our partnerships. But as an overview, like they basically get the opportunity. Oh, and here, I'll go ahead and send this so you guys can like read if that helps. But the first one's a link that I'll explain. But the second one, like there's some benefits that are in that, and they get kind of a sustainable or regenerative option to like, they'll have a biweekly stipend. They will have the opportunity, if they want to or choose to opt into insurance of multiple kinds. And we can kind of like hold them down for that year. But during that year, they're making a huge impact based on like our model of work. And they get experience working for our nonprofit, but they also just have the opportunity to make networks and connections that like genuinely, not just because like my employment is here, but genuinely I've not found anyone like quite like us in Memphis right now. And like I mentioned, like I'm an alumni of the program. And so I love to answer questions and talk to people because I was a team leader from 2021 to 2022, like spring 2022 for that school year. And when I led that team, I had really a 17-year-old all the way to a 23-year-old. And on my team, there were 6 of us. One of us was fresh out of high school, no college. And then about 35%, I think it was like 3 out of the 6 was 0 to 50%, or like 10 to 50% of their college credits were done, but they were like in the middle of kind of gap transition years. And so we really believe in, we're an education nonprofit. So of course we're working to see more success with attendance and academics and social emotional health of like K-8 students in Memphis. But we really believe in furthering the success or the opportunities, the equitable opportunities for our participants to further their education. And so if that means, helping them explore what areas of like what kind of industry of career they want, and then helping them find undergrad programs that work for them, we have a massive, I think it's something, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-digit number. I think it's like 25. I don't know. We have a wide network nationally of university partners of all sorts. And so I can bombard on request, but I'm not going to overwhelm y'all right away. Y'all with more information about like alumni testimonies. We have tons of really fun tracked data of people that go into our program. And although we're an education nonprofit, we're in a social justice, educational equity nonprofit, but we have people that come through our program and have said, I did this and I figured out kind of a more focused educational path for me post grad. And because of that, we have alumni that work in the nonprofit world. We have alumni that work in law, in business. Deloitte Consulting and Business is like one of our most active partners right now. They really love to recruit our alumni at the moment. They tried to recruit me in 2021, but I'm not done with City Year yet. and social work. I mean, there's just like several fields of interest, and because they kind of get, wildly enough, they get experience with things like data collection and management and accounting. Like they have the opportunity to start building that experience. We even had, I was working with Tech 901 last week, working with people who were interested in our program in like coding. So like we just have a really, really special opportunity with a staff of 13 adults to like get to know these 17 to 25-year-olds and just invest in like where they want to go. So it's kind of an overview. There's a lot more details of like the work that they do. They'll spend about a full-time job amount, like 40 hours a week, working Monday through Friday. That's like 7, 8 a.m. to like about 4 or 5 p.m. after school, because we run after school programs and help them do that. What could be fun for people like crosstown grads is next school year is the very first year that Memphis was able to launch our, we don't call it part-time, we call it alternative service opportunities, but we have for the first year ever positions open that are just afternoon. Like we have people could come in and serve like, I think it's 1 to 2 p.m. to like 4, 5, 6 p.m. in that range. And that's really exciting for us because we have tons of partners who are like, what if I want to start like my classes? What if I want to work a job right out of grad? And we're like, dope. Like we can offer most of our benefits. Some of the stuff like the stipend gets prorated for hours and stuff, but like you can still be a part of all of our networking and programming. So you receive all of the mentorship and development, but it's like you have a half day situation where you're like, you're not totally booked. So that's also very exciting. And I have some like, I can send lots of like readable stuff on all of this, but I really
want to jump in on that, like with that information and just say that, you know, if you are a parent of a current 11th grader at Crosstown, that sort of opportunity that Brett just talked about, where there are some afternoon hours for work, like that is something that can definitely be open to your child, especially because next year they will be a senior, and the goal is, when creating our student schedules for next year, particularly those senior schedules, is that they get the chance to, you know, be engaged with the community, be out in the community doing work like what City Year is doing with this program, and you know, and there are other learning opportunities as well. But for you parents who are thinking about that, as far as like ways for your child to have these new experiences and build skill, and you know, have some independence and some and build that confidence that will help equip them for the next phase, like that's a really great opportunity there. All right, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to say that that's happening. Oh, and the other thing I want to add to that is that during this school week, leading up to spring break, which is next week, our wonderful school counselor Sasha Haynes and Maggie as well are in English classes, talking with students about what their courses are going to be for next year. So everyone has like some individual time with each of them to work through that. So you know, if that's something that sounds like it could be a good fit for your child, you know, maybe mention that to them, encourage them. And of course, you know, Brett and his colleague Richard are coming to our school after spring break, so they can meet with our students, and the students can see them in person and like really get a good grasp for what the program offers. All right, I'll stop talking. I'm sorry I interrupted, but I just wanted to add that.
No, I love that. That's incredible. It gave me a chance. I just sent a little options that people want to save, because I think that's really exciting. Actually, what you touched on. These last 2 pages that I shared are just info about the after school opportunity. And I think that sounds super cool. Personally, I'm just biased. I have a lot of ties to Memphis too before doing this work. And one of the people that I'm really hoping will be able to join, my colleague Richard and I, is someone currently serving with us, a good friend of mine, Nikki. She grew up here in South Memphis, and then she was on my team, and she served with people from like literally like California, Boston, Milwaukee, Louisiana. And now we've just watched her like community, while she pours into like her backyard, we've watched her community also like open up. And after, you know, being a Central high school grad, and then there was a couple of years where she was trying to figure out what would be next. She's halfway through her phlebotomy school and is like figuring that, and it's just a lot of exciting developments for her. And she's also currently serving with us. But I'm really hoping, she's a riot, and I think Crosstown High students will love her. So I'm hoping she can come with me to that session. And one thing we're really, really excited to push into more is we've gotten tons of incredible talent from outside of Memphis historically, but one thing more and more that just works so well for the kids in our schools and for like our mission and vision is the incredible talent that Memphis has, and just kids like, I'm sure your children that just might need some more options to grow and to shine. So I love that. But I really, really want to leave space open, because I could this is my full-time passion, but I really want to know, because I know I threw a lot of information out, if there's like any questions, or I know our program's like robust. So yeah.
I actually have a question. Sorry, parents, to hijack this. Brett, can you take us back? You said you're an alum of this program.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. So can you rewind us back? Take us back to high school, Brett.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And how you like found out about it. And then like, can you kind of walk us through your experience, and maybe talk about like just a little bit about like how it spurred growth for you and helped you to prepare for this next phase.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in Southern California, and when I was a kid and all through like kind of high school, I actually worked a lot in and around the entertainment industry there. And so it was super fun. I gained a lot of like good experiences and skills, but it wasn't my like next career step after like thinking after high school. And I totally relate to a lot of the kids and kind of situations we talk about, because I started to just float and try other things, because I had kind of been like on one track of focus. And then I was like, I don't think I want to do the BFA to full-time performer like track. And so I started to play around with other ideas, and I tried, I worked in youth camp programming for a while, and I figured out that like nonprofit as a bucket for me was really good for someone like me, because I love people work, and I love spaces like this. And so I found out about City Year when I came back to Memphis for a little while, and I was getting into like the nonprofit scene here, and there just wasn't like, I was really struggling with like the job market. Things didn't seem like they were aligning. And then a friend of mine, actually, who was in a program that also is housed across town. He was an MTR. He asked if I had heard about City Year. I had no idea what it was. But I graduated. It's a little bit different than I think what like the more the rising norm is right now. I did City Year as a post grad year before like jumping into a career. And so I had graduated from my undergrad I studied nonprofit organizational management, and I did not find a job in Memphis that worked. I actually had a job opportunity, but I would have had to move to Indiana, and I love Memphis, and I didn't want to do that. And so I was trying to figure out what was next, and it was so like kind of a picture of how supportive City Year is I went from not knowing at all what the program was, being on like a call like this, to like a month later, I was interviewing with the executive director and another person on staff who's now actually my boss, Richard. And they were like, we think you could lead a team. You want to be a team leader? And so that I found out about City Year in like May, June, and July. I started with we have a fun training academy in the summer that just starts to get into a lot of fun, like diversity and belonging and inclusion and equity work, and just a bunch of stuff that's really central to our scene and our culture. And that next year I was working at Aurora Collegiate Academy, and now I have like a family at Aurora Collegiate Academy. Like I joke, he knows I joke about stuff like this, but like I have like a standing offer to like work at Aurora Collegiate if I'd like now, which I always try to say, because one misconception we work against is that like your kids could come and do this program only if they want to be a teacher or only if they want to work in education. Don't get me wrong, we have that down. Like most of the schools that we've either served with in the past or serve with now want our alum to, like, they want to hire them. But I actually had to keep Aurora from hiring my core members like while they were serving with us, so they could like graduate from this program. But we have school like pipeline and partnerships where like if they want to study, if they want to get their teaching license, if that's what they want to do, this is definitely an incredible pipeline. But I do always usually lead with like, we're a great stepping stone to a lot of other industries as well. But I just like jumped in both feet, and it's important to us that we're asset based. And so like the placement was really well personalized to me, even though I just started meeting City Year Memphis and getting to know them. Like I don't look like it because I'm like painfully white passing, but I'm half Mexican American. My whole dad's side of the family, my dad's first generation here from Mexico. And so being bilingual and having a real passion for that community here in Memphis, they were like, go lead a team at a charter school here with one of the highest Spanish speaking fluent and non-English fluent student populations. And so we also do that pretty well, I like to think. Not that I'll stop tooting my own horn, but this was an incredible opportunity for me personally, because I went from like high school Brett that basically just did like either theater, TV, film 24/7, to being like, oh man, but I want to do something else full time, to then I jumped into City Year just being like, well, I want to work at a place where I can stay and make a good change for people in Memphis. And I started in like July of 2022. I started in July of 2021. April of 2022, I accepted a full-time offer with City Year Memphis on staff. And so I'm biased, but if that testimony helps, we really, really love to help out our own. And so we love to invite people into that family, because when I say the staff will pull up for your kids, I really mean it. I call my first impact manager, that was like my direct staff support. I call her mom. So like, if you just want to get more like adults to know your kids and help kind of mentor and develop them and know that there are good people that'll pull up for them, they will.
Totally. Thank you so much, Brett. I know you want to, like you said, you want to have create some space. And so yeah, we want to kind of open it up to parents now that I got my question in. To any parents who'd like to know more about the program, or if you have any burning questions for Brett. Yeah, you're welcome to put them in the chat. You can unmute and speak up. And if not, you might have to hear me talk more. So I'm going to be quiet.
Sorry, I jumped in a little late and I didn't get the basis of what the program City Year is all about. So I apologize, but can I get just a recap on what the base is all about and who are y'all trying to reach? I
Yeah,
got a lot of the later information, which is great. It sounds terrific. But I was just trying to get the basis of, the program and what it's all about.
of course. Yeah. So it's a good practice for me to try to overview and wrap distinctly, because I do it about 100 times a day and still. We at City Year Memphis, we're an AmeriCorps partner organization. So one way to understand it is kind of like we're a really fun way right here locally in Memphis to do like almost a Peace Corps type opportunity, but domestically. And so we have funding through the government and AmeriCorps to offer the opportunity to work in Memphis schools. So we're a social justice educational organization. The whole point is that your students can come in and work with us full time, just to try to make the impact, or be a part of. We don't try, we really make the impact. We have like data to prove it or whatever, but they to make it so more all students can succeed in Memphis schools. And so they just come and mentor with us. And in the meantime, they're mentoring kids, but we have a lot of resources and people mentoring them. And so they serve with us from July to about May or June. It's practically a 12-month program, just shy. But great question.
Okay.
And I have, yeah, of course. I'll just keep like dropping too. There's like, since we're in 29 cities, City Year Memphis is here, but we can also connect Crosstown High students to City Year in different cities. We have like a bunch of national fun advertisements and stuff. So like I'll drop some YouTube videos and stuff if that helps your brain to like look back on later.
Any burning questions? Thank you for putting that video in the chat, Brett. I will definitely be checking that out later. Yeah, so parents, please feel free to unmute or add a question to the chat. While we're waiting, I might throw in another question. I heard you talk about how in the summertime you all run a training. So is that kind of the first step, at least, for students who are coming out of their senior year, just having graduated, or is that something that you do year round and not just in the summer?
I'm so sorry. Was that question for me? I had the audio cut in and out for a minute. My bad.
That's totally fine. I was asking about the summer training that you all offer. Like,
Yes.
Is that something that is just for recent graduates, or is that something that's open to 17-year-olds and up year round?
Yeah, we're definitely this is a great time, I think, to like be interested and to ask that question, because more and more like we're getting to really play and enjoy having different people come in and shadow and experience to like get their hands on involved a little bit. So we will be like this summer, for example, we'll be, all through July running a program for our people that were like deploy in, they're not going alone, don't worry, they're going like on a team, but they're getting ready to really serve in Memphis schools. And what's a fun thing for me is I'm getting to set up right now like shadowing for things like that BTA program. So in the summer, for example, like there could be an opportunity where I'm like, hey, we're gonna do our summit and training on like equity. We're going to teach on equity and inequity and like the history of that in education. So like if social justice is something that one of your students is passionate about, or your kid is like really passionate about, we'd love to invite them, and they can like have a buddy who's currently serving to kind of make sure they walk through. Fun for Crosstown High School is that like they wouldn't have to leave Crosstown, because right now, I don't know if I said this explicitly, our offices are actually in Crosstown as of like December, January. We're right over on the 4th floor with TFA. So but we have tons of like, I really think there are a lot of opportunities where we could start to invite some of your students to shadow. Like we do financial literacy training with our core members that just help like budgeting and banking and adulting. And we have a lot of sessions like that, as well as social emotional sessions that are just like about wellness and mental health. And I think it'd be super fun to have a group or to have individuals come and see like who our guest speakers are and how the interaction with them kind of work.
Yeah, that proximity, being on the same floor with you all, is a little too good to be true. I like, I can't tell you how many students, I mean, even those who are older students at Crosstown, really are looking for opportunities that are either in the building or in the neighborhood. And the fact that you all are right there is, yeah, like I said, a little too good to be true. Any parents wanna unmute and or if you have a question, you're welcome to ask.
Hello.
Hi.
Eve. Yeah, hi Eve. Go ahead.
Hi, I hope my phone doesn't die on me again. I do have a question. How soon can the students sign up for this program?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I will let I won't like speak over the Crosstown part for Leah, because I know this, but we might like collaborate on the answer. But on City Year side, depending on the junior or senior status, if your student is a senior in their second semester and they're looking to apply to be a full-time like core member with us, our applications are open now. We have several deadlines that they're not like final deadlines, but it's like if they do it before the end of March, they get like an answer and confirmed faster than the end of April. But we continue rolling applications until actually like the beginning of July when we start. So they're very open arms about that. So if they're looking to do that as a postgraduate, they could start applying now and have a confirmation of a plan this semester. Very similar answer if for junior students, if they were like, this might be something that I want to see. And that's where we might like work with Leah and Crosstown, because depending on the logistics on our end, they can apply now. Our afternoon, they're called after school enrichment coaches actually, but that opportunity also, the applications are open.
Okay, and this is strictly after they graduate, or is this before? And is there a qualification?
Yeah, so for the after school opportunity, thinking about, they would still start in July with us. So like they could have a confirmation and the application process knocked out before then, but like our next core would start in July. They'd have access to all of any of our trainings and like programs going on. But as long as things like work out, if we're working it out with the logistics of like crosstown for next year, they'd be able to start serving in that position. You know, if they're juniors now, their senior year. For our like full-time core members, they'd, if they're either 17 or will have their high school diploma by July, or if they're 17 by July, then they're good. So that's the only qualification.
Okay, great. I think I have someone that fit that criteria.
Yeah, yeah. And Eve, I was talking a little bit earlier, but I just want to say it again. This week, like this current week, our counselor Sasha Haynes and also Maggie Reeves are going around to English classes and helping students who are in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade choose what classes they're going to take next year. And of course, this is based on, you know, how are they doing with their courses that are required by the state of Tennessee, right? And so for students who are in their senior year, you know, these rising seniors, our current 11th graders, you know, if it turns out that they are good on lots of credits and they have most of what they need, there is potential that they would be able to, you know, go to crosstown classes in the morning and then, you know, slide over to the other side of the 4th floor in the concourse and get started working with City Year. So that's a possibility. And if you want to, you know, if you want, you can email me about it, and I can pass that along to make sure that that's something taken into consideration when Sasha and Maggie are working with our students.
Okay, I'll send that email because I think that'll be, knowing my child,
Yeah,
I think it'll be it'll be a change up for her. And I think it may be very good for her too. So
yeah, I definitely could have used City Year when I was in my last couple of years of high school and, you know, before going to college, for sure. I think that it's a great program and there's a lot of value in that experience of having social independence and being around more adults who can serve as mentors and help with growth, and also
and I think that's something that she would need. I think that'll be perfect for her.
That sounds great. Yeah, we'll talk about it some more
tomorrow, but this is a great alternative for her.
Yeah, and that's really what we want for our students as they're getting ready to transition to whatever their next phase is going to look like, is that we want there to be choices. Because, you know, leaving high school is not a one size fits all situation. There's not one solution for every single student that is perfect. And I'm really excited that City Year is partnering with us and that we're going to be able to work together because, you know, it's such a tender and often really challenging time for young people, and being able to have more support in this transition into, you know, if we want to call it adulthood, sure. But I'm so excited that that City Year is accessible to us. So Brett, thank you. I think we probably have time for maybe one more question, and then we'll probably have to hop off because I want to make sure we honor everyone's time here. So any of you have a burning question, bring it on. Going once. Oh, Eve,
the website.
Do you have one more?
Website. Is there a website? Okay.
There is, yeah. I'll put it in here, but I'll also, Leah, make sure we can talk, because like I'm happy to send anything that can be forwarded, or if you want me to send to like a list of attendees. It is pretty easy in my humble opinion, because we're at cityyear.org. I would suggest going ahead to cityyear.org/Memphis for them here. It just would save a few clicks if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
That website's pretty great because you can walk through pages on like overview of experience and like some of it. If you're already here in Memphis, you might not need to be like learn about Memphis, but there is a lot of information that should be up to date about benefits.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
All right. And with that, we will wrap this up. Brett, thank you so much for being here to talk with us. All of the parents who are here, thank you for listening. And yeah, we will definitely make sure that information is provided to all of you families in case you have questions. Your students will have access to all of this when they come back from spring break. Brett and Richard will be in the building, in the school building. I mean, they're always in the building now, but in the school building during enrichment on Tuesday, the 28th, I believe, or Thursday. It's one of the two. It's the 28th. So they will have access to them, and we're excited to share what this program offers to your kids. So I hope y'all have a great night. And again, I really appreciate you all for being here. Brett, thank you again.
Thank y'all so much.
Yeah, y'all have a great night.